makes me wanna holler, go away. I need more peace and hope and love. Where do I find it in this crazy old world? Need strategies, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Every time I listen, Lauren and David share strategies for living, and it makes me aware. I got strategies for living, strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab. Strategies for living radio. Your dose of radio rehab.
You know, we need them. Yeah, we need them. Some days, maybe we need them more than other days, but are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Ready or not, here I am.
There you are.
Hope we are.
Wherever you are, there you are.
We're always ready.
Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. She is psychotherapist, PLPC, Lauren Leon McMillian. And I know that you love freedom.
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
We all want freedom.
That's
and
what
we all
say.
want as much freedom as we can get. Do you know how to get that?
How's that?
By not
What's
taking
your-
anything personally.
Absolutely.
If you don't take anything personally, you give yourself ultimate freedom. So we're going to talk about that a bit today.
Sounds
because
like a very important thing for us to talk about.
I think so, because there are some habits that people who take nothing personally have that maybe the rest of us could look at and maybe adapt. Because on some level, being concerned about how you present to the world is kind of part of being human.
Right. Well, and it's an issue we all grapple with, and I think it comes down to what or who are you identifying with?
Yeah, we were talking
Right.
to a colleague earlier today who said, he was 45 years old and still grappling with low self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And I know people in their 70s.
Sure.
I mean, I think it's great that he conquered his at 45, but I know people in their 70s.
Right.
80s who are still grappling with low self-esteem.
Who am I and what am I in the world?
Yeah. And so, this is an important thing for all of us to learn. I don't take anything personally, even when I hit the wrong button. Hey, folks, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing,
Oof, oof.
Learning RX, We Train Your Brain, the Balanced Life Wellness Center, Fertitas Delicatessen, home of The Godfather, Alligator Italian Sausage, SRT, Sales Training, Uprising Addiction Center, and Mira, Direct Primary Care. People who take nothing personally. They've got some habits that the rest of us could adapt. We'll talk about it today here on Strategies.
Tune in daily, find the light. Healthy mind and spirits bright. Strategies for living strong. Feel the vibe, it won't go wrong. Body moves and soul align. Catch the rhythm, feel the time. Radio rehab every day. Chase those clouds of gray away. Your daily dose of radio rehab. Lift you up when skies seem drab. Mind and body, spirits free. Living life in harmony.
And welcome into another edition of Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We all seek connection, and we all want to be loved. And yet, Lauren, there's a difference between being considerate of your impact on other people, and being so consumed by what they think that your whole sense of who you are, your entire sense of self-worth is at stake.
It depends. And if it depends on other people's emotions and behaviors, boy, what a rocky ride you're in for. And yet, I think, unfortunately, a tremendous amount, I would even dare to say the majority of people, right, grow up in environments, and which include the larger environment of society, right. Which train us to, okay, you have to behave a certain way, and you have to first connect with safety first outside of yourself. Right. Yeah. Which limits the development of a sturdy and stable inner self and being and relationship with who you are.
And we all want that.
Well, we all need that.
And we all need that.
Desperately to be in a more healthy world.
And so, the one of the ways towards that is to take nothing personally. Mm-hmm. Because in truth, nothing is personal.
No.
Everything that is said to us, done to us, and around us is about that other person, not about us. But we have this way of taking things personally. Well, some people don't. Some people don't take anything personally. And how do they do that? Well, they've got some habits. They've got some habits that the rest of us could look at, learn from, maybe even adapt.
Okay.
And so we're going to go through as many of these as we can today. And if any of these resonate with you, think about adapting them into your life.
How can you begin the path towards building a habit?
So one of the things that are habits with people who take nothing personally is they're self-accepting. They accept themselves for exactly who they are, and that means they acknowledge their own perfections and they integrate those into their self-perception, but they don't judge themselves for being flawed, because we know that we're all flawed human beings.
Yeah.
So, and they also know something else. Perfect is impossible. So they know that trying to be perfect is actually the opposite of what many of us intend when we set out to be quote unquote perfect. It's self-destructive. And trying to make everyone like them is a losing battle. I mentioned here recently, I've mentioned Dr. Bob Roush, rest in peace. May he rest in peace. But he was one of the first co-host here on Strategies for Living.
Right.
In fact, he was the very first co-host that went on with me, and then it was shared by Alton McKnight and Dixie Richards. But Bob would say, he talked a lot about self-esteem, and he said, it's a third, a third, and a third.
Right.
He said, no matter what you do or don't do, a third of the people are just going to like you. And he said, no matter what you do or don't do, a third of the people in your life aren't going to like you.
Right.
And no matter what you do or don't do, a third of the people in your life aren't going to pay enough attention. They're not going to care. And so he would say, do the math, 2/3, either no matter what you do or don't do, don't like you or don't care. Well, that's 67% of the people in your life.
Right.
Yeah. And so if he was halfway right, there's
that's a lot of energy to waste.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you accept yourself fully, then, people who take nothing personally foster this strong sense of self connection.
Yeah.
And that's where it all begins.
Yeah, because I think if you take everything personally, if everything feels personal, then your identity is likely under construction.
Yes.
Right? It's being built. And which I think is the case for all of us all the time.
Yeah.
So what you're saying there as a protective mechanism is to accept that.
Yeah.
That my sense, my identity is always under development, but that doesn't mean that my sense of self-worth has to be at the demise of other people, right?
No,
or in
not
the
at all.
hands of anybody else but me. And anytime we take anything and we accept an insult or criticism, when we take it to heart, what that means is that there's a part of me that agrees with that person.
Right.
And so it becomes less about whatever the other person, less about the other person and more about me and what within me agrees with that insult or with that criticism or with that remark.
Right.
And what do I want to do with that?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
it's up to me.
because sometimes remarks or criticisms can be taken and made to make ourselves better.
Yeah.
But we don't have to use them as daggers, right?
No, or hammers,
Right.
So people who accept themselves live according to their own values. The alignment of their inner and outer selves comes from their deep sense of self-connection.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to prove themselves to anybody. They give themselves grace, and they take nothing personally. And that's a habit that any of us would do better adapting.
Mm. Yeah, and it begins with the way you talk to yourself.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I
And
mean,
just tuning in and realizing that we talk to ourselves all day long, and then monitoring, is the majority of that self-talk positive or is it negative?
Right. And I would say, how can we all lean towards a little more nurturing, a little more compassionate with ourselves and therefore others?
Yeah.
Right? Because it goes out.
Another habit that people who don't take things personally have is they build positive support networks. Mm-hmm. So people who take nothing personally surround themselves with people who genuinely care about them, and they avoid the surface level friendships, the fake friendships. We all know what that is. Mm-hmm. Because they know that those relationships don't actually nourish them. They don't have root, right?
Right.
And what they cultivate is their community to be uplifting and nurturing. And they show up authentically in every relationship because they know that those people that they love, their loved ones, see them for who they really are.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's sort of a symptom, if you will, of living in alignment with your own authenticity and seeking that out first, right?
Right.
Because once you commit and it's not just a one-time commitment, right? It's over and over and over a decision, and the magnet has both sides, right?
Yeah.
It attracts and repels. So, that's part of the courage that it takes in deeply connecting with yourself and aligning with your own authenticity means that you recognize you are going to repel some people.
Yeah.
But it also means what you're talking about here is you magnetize what I might call your tribe.
Your
right?
people. Yeah.
The people who align with you and your values on a deep level, because not only are you following and in alignment with those values, but you're embodying them.
That's right.
And so you bring those people who embody those values into your own life.
I like that. You embody them.
Yeah, through your actions and your words.
Because people who do take things personally tend to create relationships that are actually based on self-doubt and based on insecurity.
Yep.
And they keep those quirky or strange, bright parts of their personality, which we all have.
Sure.
And they keep them to themselves because they're afraid that they won't be accepted. And so...
And they might not by the tribe that you're surrounded with now.
Yeah.
But it's about trust that once you begin to allow those incredibly important, might I add, parts of yourself out into the world, that you will attract others who are in alignment with that.
Absolutely.
And at the beginning, like I said, you might repel some of the people in your current.
It's just it's the third thing I was talking about.
But I would say if you're in a bunch of relationships that feel shallow and you can't quite connect, what that says to me is that let's look at your primal connection which is with yourself.
Exactly.
How much more deeply and more in alignment with you and who you are can you become?
So building a positive support network doesn't mean that everything is rainbows and sunshine all the time.
No.
Being a good vibes only person requires repressing your harder, darker thoughts and feelings, which isn't good for your mind, your body, or your soul.
Yeah. And I would say a part of that means that you are going to attract people who also hold you to your values, which means
Absolutely.
they might push against some of the things. You might not agree on everything.
But they're willing to tell you, hey,
Right.
You need to look at this.
Right.
So instead of having a positive support network means that you have people to rely on when you're going through the tough times in your life. We all go through tough times.
Yep.
The people in your support network love you unconditionally, and they're also sincere and honest with you.
Yep.
They don't shy away from having the difficult conversations.
No, because they know that everyone involved won't take it personally.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. We're talking about not taking things personally as being true freedom. What are habits that we can cultivate to get there? We're talking about that today here on Strategies for Living. We'll be right back.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies for living radio.
And welcome back in to Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We're talking today about true freedom. True freedom, and that means a person that doesn't take anything personally. What are some habits of those people? Turns out there's a few of them,
Sure.
and we're talking about them today here on Strategies for Living. Another one is they define their worth on their own terms. So people who take nothing personally are masters of internal validation, and they believe in their abilities, and yet they know that they are more than what they can do. And they believe that they hold inherent value just by virtue of being here on the planet and alive. And they set their own terms, and they don't base their worth on anybody else's opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me. I think it's that Oscar Wilde quote. Anyway, It says something along the lines of, if you don't define who you are, the world will. And so
I like it.
Yeah, and I mean, if the world is as we see it, right? It's inconsistent, it's reactive, and most of the time unconscious. And so if you're ready to take that ride, that's where you are. But there's a steady anchor inside each of us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
And it's our inner compass. And if we're willing to connect with that and wrestle with it, right? And begin to define and accept that my inner experience really is of the most importance in my life.
Probably no more important work than we can do, than learning to connect there. There's a psychological practice. It's a cognitive strategy. It's called distancing.
Yeah.
And it's a strategy where you step back and you remove yourself from the immediate reality. So psychological distancing doesn't mean disengaging, and it's not disassociating. It's a way to acknowledge the complicated intensity of our thoughts and feelings and give ourselves room. Give ourselves some room to gain perspective. And there's some ways to create psychological distance that allow for healthy self-reflection, leading to greater clarity and growth. You know, you can project yourself into the future and consider the timeline of your life. So by placing yourself beyond this current situation, you can ask yourself if the issues you're facing will matter a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 10 years from now. So, you know, that's the wonder of our minds, our incredible mind. We can zoom out or we can zoom in. Most of us are zoomed in a lot of the time, but we can zoom out and see the full scope of our existence, and that can enhance our ability to emotionally regulate and make decisions. Yeah. Yeah. Another habit is they release their need for control. We've been talking a lot about this one lately, right?
Yeah, we have. It seems to be an important one of the season.
But people who take nothing personally have a habit of releasing their need to control other people's opinions, and that includes other people's opinions of them.
Right. Well, that's what I like to share that with a lot of people. I don't think they understand that perspective, that when you take something personally as a personal assault, you're actually engaged in control. Yeah. Right? Because you're trying to control other people's opinions of you.
And you can't force others to accept you. You know, you just can't do it.
Right.
And so you don't try. Right. It's meaningless.
And so that's what people pleasing is as well.
Yeah.
It's actually a control mechanism.
And this is not apathy. What it is understanding I can't control the lens that other people see me through.
Right.
And I understand it's their lens. And it's not mine. Right. It's their lens, and there's nothing I can do about their lens.
But I can control my lens.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? I can control what I choose to accept and what I bring in, and even the ways that I decide to interpret and then respond to other people's words and behaviors.
Right. Another habit that people have who don't take anything personally is they ask for clarification during difficult conversations. So, you know, this would be great for more of us to adapt. It's asking clarification during conversations about difficult things.
Right.
So it's fully grasping the power of clear, direct communication, and then to use it to their advantage instead of projecting their anxieties and insecurities onto something or some other person or what some other person said. They asked for clarification and what they meant.
This is actually a great first step if you're just now recognizing that, wow, I do take a lot of things personally.
Yeah.
This is a great first step because as soon as you recognize that you feel insulted or put down, you're beginning to take it personally. If you can take that time, pause a moment, and then reflect that back to the other person.
Right.
Say, that felt harsh to me, or that felt critical. What was it that you actually meant?
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Or to use the words, when you said that, I heard an insult. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And suddenly it becomes a conversation rather than a done deal.
Could be a very important conversation.
And what
too.
that says to the other person also is that I value this relationship enough to get clarity about what you just shared with me.
Because in order to validate somebody's feelings, somebody else's feelings, we first have to gain a clear understanding of what their feelings are. And we give them the space and time to express themselves. And by giving ourselves that same space and time to understand their emotional experience by asking for clarification or elaboration, or maybe even posing open-ended questions to get more information, right?
Right.
Here's another one we talk about a lot, and it seems we've been talking about it a lot here lately, but people who don't take anything personally uphold boundaries.
Yeah. Well, when everything is yours, everything hurts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a little heavy, right?
So by not taking anything personally, these individuals know themselves deeply enough to know exactly where their limits are, and they believe boundaries are a transformative way to care for themselves and to strengthen, not weaken, but strengthen their connections with others. And so they know that the process of establishing boundaries is simpler than sustaining them, especially when people push up against them, right?
Yeah, I think another part of this is knowing that when people share and you get clarity that, okay, maybe it was intentionally hurtful, that's where you can draw the boundary and say, no, I'm not going to accept that because I know that that's more about you than me.
Yep.
But I'm also not going to allow that energy into my space.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. If you want it, here, take it back.
Yeah.
I'm not accepting it. So people who take nothing personally refuse to either bend or shift the parameters of their boundaries, which is how they protect their inner peace. And our inner peace is, it's very, very valuable.
Well, it is. We say it is, but if we could learn to truly value it, we would act a lot differently.
Yep. Another thing that people who don't take anything personally do is it's about trust. And who they trust, first and foremost, is themselves. So anybody that takes nothing personally, has a very, very good self-trust, a solid foundation of self-trust, which gives them self-confidence, right?
Yeah, and it's built over many, instances and years.
And
right?
we're not taught that. We're not at all. Many of us are not taught self-trust.
No, well, and I think because many of us early on throw that self-trust out the window in order to survive childhood.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's safer, I think, for many people growing up to, I have to behave this certain way and not trust my own feelings and my own needs because I need to be cared for as a child. And so it takes some work to reestablish that trust with self.
There's nothing more important than a parent can do with a developing child and it's subtle and there's an art to it. But over time, to allow that child, instead of making all the decisions for the child, as the child demonstrates the ability to self-manage, give them the opportunity, even the opportunity sometimes to make what are mistakes, but you're there, you're there to catch, and that's an art.
But this even starts even very, very early, the self-trust piece, because I could tie it to something as simple as eating. So many of us grew up with, well, you have to finish what's on your plate. Yeah. And immediately that severs the link between trusting my own body to tell me when I'm full.
Yeah.
To I have to rely on this external cue of whatever's on my plate, I've got to finish it and ignore my own body's signals.
Building our self-trust is actually a practice of reconnecting with the part of ourselves that's feels scared or feels afraid of making a mistake or of doing something wrong, and then reteaching that sacred part that it's safe to tap into your inner guidance, like you were talking about a few minutes ago. Starting with it could start with very small decisions, but we got to begin someplace,
including just beginning to listen to your body. Right
there, you go. We are talking today about, I think it's true freedom, not taking anything personally. And the people who do, what are some habits? What are some habits that they have? We're talking about that today right here on Strategies for Living. We've got more to come. Come back with us.
We all have problems every day. We all need help along the way. We need strategies Strategies for living radio.
And welcome back in. Welcome back into Strategies for Living Radio. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian, in a discussion today about those people who are truly free, people who don't take anything personally. And it turns out that those people have some habits. Those people have some habits that we can hook onto, we can even emulate, if you will, and it would be good for us to do that.
Not just us, but everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Mindfulness. People who don't take anything personally and have developed a practice of mindfulness in order to stay present.
I'd say that's foundational to not taking things personally, because I think, as I said, so many of us are immersed in that programming so early on that it becomes a reaction, right? And so in order to change that programming from taking things personally to being able to recognize that nothing is personal,
right,
takes a certain level of mindfulness, being able to pause and to recognize things as they are.
And remember, mindfulness is the now, being in the now. Practicing mindfulness is being in the now. So it's then I don't ruminate over the past, or I don't project into the future. Well, I'm in the now.
And so many times when we take things personally, we're not even reacting to the now. When we take things personally, more often than not, we're reacting to something in the past that the now has triggered within us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. You know, this next one, you've already mentioned it in a kind of a way from earlier, but a habit that people who don't take anything personally do is they disrupt their negative thought patterns. So you were saying earlier, we all have them.
Sure.
Everybody's got an inner critic, but some people's critics are louder than others, or seem to be louder than others, and it makes them harder to ignore. So people who don't take anything personally catch themselves before that negative feedback loop overpowers their thinking. And they even maybe talk back to their critic. And they remind themselves they're more than the sum of their flaws, right?
Again, it starts on the inside, right? If you're facing an outer critic, it helps, and it's really foundational for you to have dealt with the inner critic first.
Yes. And, it might even help to write down what your inner critic says. That will help you perhaps interrupt it and redirect it. And kind of getting it out of your head and onto paper is a pretty good way to, hey, I wouldn't say this to anybody else. I'm not going to say it to myself. So you disidentify from it and locate it from inside yourself to outside yourself.
Yeah.
And be gentle. Be gentle with yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes that could be a stark reality, right? When you actually write down the things that you're telling yourself. Whoa, right? Yeah. You take a step back and say, whoa, that is not a nice thing to say.
Yeah. Would I say that?
Much less a friend.
Would I say that to somebody I love? And hopefully you're somebody you love. Hopefully you love yourself deeply.
Yeah.
And so writing it down is a good way to move it. Get it out, right? Another habit is they're intentional in their responses. People who take nothing personally have this habit of intentionality in their responses. They see conversations as a way to cultivate intimacy and share experiences and validate other people's perspectives. So they carefully consider what they want to say before they say it, and they don't have a problem asking for more time to process before sharing what they think.
Yeah.
If somebody says, gives you something that's on their mind and says, "What do you think about that?" If you're not sure, say, let me think about that a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because again, it's coming from a place of rooted in who I am.
Yeah.
Right. And it's being sure of that.
Yeah.
And so if if you're not sure, then it's important to share that, and it comes from a place of authenticity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And gentleness. Because you've wrestled with what it means to be authentic and gentle with yourself inside.
So being intentional involves listening to others, certainly, and absorbing what they say, but not assigning your own meaning.
Right.
Hearing how someone else sees the world can widen your own view.
And it's not a threat.
No.
Because I think if you're in a place where you're taking things personally, other people's views can feel like a threat because you haven't developed your own.
Yeah. So accepting, our friends, our family's beliefs as valid, even if you don't agree with them, that's a way to truly embody the concept of not taking anything personally.
Or even if you've got people who are offering suggestions or advice or directions, your ability to take that and not feel threatened is another sign that, okay, I am my own person and I'm rooted in who that is. I can take your advice and say, sure, okay, that sounds good, but I'm going to take a different path because that's not in alignment with who I am and who I'm creating myself to be.
Right. I'm a work in progress. I'm under development.
That's right, all the time.
And finally, all of these are important, Lauren, but maybe this one gets my double or triple asterisk today.
Okay.
People who don't take anything personally see hardships as opportunities to learn about themselves and to grow into a more fully realized version of themselves.
Yeah, one of my favorite ideas is that the quickest way to enlightenment is to lighten up.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what that's what the word's about when you look at it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it's important to, not take things so seriously.
Yeah.
Right. To be able to take each opportunity as it comes, including things that initially look like a shock to the system.
Yeah.
Right. But it's important to allow yourself feel the shock, to feel what you feel, but then move through it in a way, in a rooted place from, okay, this is not a personal attack on my life. In fact, it's likely here to help me grow and to become a better person.
So everybody has to go through hard times. Every single one of us. I don't care who we are.
Yep.
So we cultivate gratitude in order to carry ourselves through the storm, and that is so very important.
Yeah.
I
think it deserves the triple asterisk.
They're all important. Don't get me wrong, every single thing that we've talked about today is important. But if you've got an attitude of gratitude as a foundation, if you see everything as, well, I'm thankful for this opportunity for me to learn and to grow, then it's like we say a lot on this program, we remain curious students.
Playfully curious.
Throughout our lives.
Keep it PC.
There you go. PC means something else other than what we think it means.
I like the playfully curious version.
I do too. We'll be back in just a moment here on Strategies for Living. Come back with us. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillian, David McMillian. We've been talking today about true freedom. What is true freedom? Well, it's cultivating a place where you don't take anything personally, because we got people in our lives that we love and care about, many of them. Some of them are family, some of them are good friends. And obviously, we want to listen to what they say, but you don't have to take it personally.
Well, and we're all on our own journey, right?
Yes.
And so the importance of recognizing that, and also to recognize that each interaction that we have is an opportunity, is a mirror opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Anything that we feel, think, or consider is a reflection back to me of me.
Yeah.
And so if I'm taking things personally, the question becomes, okay, where did I learn that? And how can I be more compassionate towards that part of me? And how can I maybe get more sure in that value?
Yeah.
Because there's a value there that I'm unsure of that's shaken there.
Yeah.
And then, like you ended, right, to take gratitude for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the opportunity to get to know myself better.
Absolutely. And
right?
to
grow
remain
myself.
and to remain a curious student throughout my entire life.
Yeah.
If I live to be 101, and I hope I do,
Count on it.
I hope right up till the end that I'm a curious student. Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Folks, thank you. We appreciate you being a part of Strategies for Living with us, and we appreciate our sponsors who make it all possible. The Robinson Film Center, and Azalea Cleaners, and Pintail Roofing, and Learning RX. We train your brain. And the Balanced Life Wellness Center. Fertitta's Delicatessen, home of the Godfather. Alligator Italian sausage and some pretty good muffies, too. SRT Sales Training. Uprising Addiction Center. And Mira, Direct Primary Care. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who is it that you'd call? What is it that you'd say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Lauren Leon McMillian, I'm David McMillian. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.